If you're a Snyder fan, by the end of this video, you won't be anymore, or at least not to the same degree. Let's go ahead and get into some of the specifics. First off, I want to say that I'm only covering the Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and the Justice League Snyder Cut. Other than that, let's jump into the first movie. For Man of Steel, there's really only one defense for the style and tone of Superman they used, and that's using comics that are really deep into a storyline, where a lot has happened and many things have impacted the overall persona and character and ideals of Superman. At these points, yes, he would start killing, being a little more dark and kind of turned off. You know, at some point, I believe towards the earlier half of the movie, two kids walk up to Superman and try and talk to him, and he seemed very put off by it and didn't know what to do, so he just flew away. This almost was a peak comic level interaction, but Superman didn't bend down and get on one knee and put his arms around the two kids and start to explain to them that he grew up on Earth just like them. So, you know, all the choices made really were just bad when it came to the time period of Superman. There was another scene where General Zod threw a oil tanker and it exploded. Instead of the normal comic Superman doing everything in his power to stop it from crashing into a building or potentially harming citizens, he just dodges it and continues to go after Zod. This is completely uncharacteristic of Superman. Speaking of General Zod, he's one of 4 villains that have ever been used in live action. You have General Zod, Lex Luthor, Darkseid, and Doomsday. These are the only villains in live action that's ever been used. Correction, there was this energy-shooting, blonde-haired guy that was in a live action movie and it failed entirely, so no one cares about him. I don't even care to look up his name. And overall, the Man of Steel just had the wrong tone for the movie. If you would have stripped the movie Hancock of all the comedy and then used this tone for it, it would have made that movie really a whole lot better, just in a different way. But this was definitely not the tone you would want to use for Superman. When it comes to Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, this storyline was extremely rushed. There was no reason to throw this in that quick. That would have been like having Civil War in the middle of the first phase of the MCU. It really wouldn't have worked out well, and it wouldn't have had the weight and impact on the overall verse or the viewer that it could have, which is what we got with Batman vs. Superman. Not only do we still have the bad and incorrect version of Superman, we also have a Batman that kills and is a lot more brooding and different than you would expect a Batman to be, even though he fit the perfect build of a realistic Batman. That didn't help the story that they chose for him. And not only was Doomsday rushed, he was pretty much ruined. What do you mean you made him a revived Kryptonian of General Zod? Like, what? That's not at all what Doomsday is. And then you have him be killed, which is also not canon. He is supposed to come back. Whatever killed him is something he is either more defensible or resistant to, or just can no longer kill him, depending on the storyline. And on top of that, you just kill off Superman. And it didn't help that they kind of just threw in Wonder Woman. I know she'd already had her own movie in the technical, canonical order of everything, but still, it felt really rushed and kind of just thrown in. Now we get to the one that every one of the Snyder fans holds peak and wants to defend over anything. But the first thing I have to say with the Snyder cut of the Justice League is, again, why is Cyborg here? This is a character that is more known by more fans alive today as being a part of the Titans or Teen Titans team. Where is Green Arrow? Where is Hawkgirl? These characters are more pivotal and common to the Justice League team than Cyborg ever has been. And another thing, why is he intentionally decided to make Wonder Woman and Aquaman so weak? These are characters that can fight on the level of Superman. What makes him Superman is the mixture of his abilities. His frost breath, his laser eyes, his flight, his super strength, durability, and speed. He is not the peak of them, and there are other Justice League members, including Wonder Woman, that has literally beaten him off page. And that's to let everyone know that it's that easy. He also wrote the Justice League to look completely useless without Superman. And that's kind of not at all true. They each play a big important part, and I guess you can say people like Green Arrow and Hawk Girl and Hawkman, or Hawk Guy, don't remember right now, were kind of the weaker ones. Yeah, but the Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, you have the Martian Manhunter, all of these are people that can swing with the big boys, and that means Superman. Flash being made to be slower than Superman, I get it if you weren't saying he's already been using it so much, but in the same movie, you say that he was capable of going back in time, which if you're going to say he's able to pull that off, then he's obviously trained enough for that to be within his grasp, which would mean he should not be slower than Superman. Superman should not be able to keep up with him. And I know the argument's going to be, well, all he could do was look. No, he was almost as fast as him, being able to punch at him, but there was nothing the Flash could do about him. And once he got used to moving at that speed against someone, he started to be able to capture him and move that fast. Hence their race at the end, how it showed them going at equal speeds. You gotta be fair if you're gonna be fair. And Darkseid, finally. How they made him look so weak. I mean, think about it. If Superman can move as fast as he did versus the villain of that movie, how much faster do you think Darkseid's supposed to be? If we count the opening intro, he's not that fast, so Superman would have no problem outspeeding him, which is not true. He stands up pretty on par, and in some cases can smack around Superman. Some cases Superman was holding back and now he can let loose, and that's always a great moment. But when you display him like that in the opening, you can't in a later movie say he's gotten to the point of being Superman's speed and strength and all that. You messed up with the opening war scene, and all it did was make Darkseid look weak. So overall, I'd like to say that the Snyderverse was exciting and entertaining to watch, but at the same time, it assassinated the characters. He took ultimate liberty and intentionally did this. According to him in an interview, he says something, and I will paraphrase because I do not remember the exact quote, but I intentionally did this because people say that Superman doesn't kill, but mine will. People say Batman doesn't kill, but mine will. And I do this to get a rise out of the fans, because getting a rise or an emotional response is how you make more sales. That may work with zombies, Zack Snyder, but it does not work within Marvel or DC or anything like that. You want to try and do accurate. There's a lot of anti-fans and fake fans out there, and what I'm also terming as neo-fans, which are people that only became a fan of these things since live action got popularized. Most of these people don't actually know about the comics, the old school animation, and they like some of these destroyed and assassinated versions, and sometimes utterly gutted versions of the characters, like Netflix. If you don't agree with me on Netflix, please come into the comments on my whole Netflix series. Go into the Geeky Guru Shorts and the Geeky Guru long form playlist. Each of these has my entire coverage of the entire Netflix verse, in short and long form. You want to argue that? Go ahead and come over. You want to argue this? Come in the comments below. But until then, and I'll catch you later.